Okay, welcome to the Arts Commission meeting for November 7th, 2024. I'd like to call to order, that's what I'm doing, calling to order. Good afternoon and welcome to the Arts Commission meeting of, like I said, November 7th, 2024. And I now call the meeting to order, another gavel, at 6:01 p.m. That's what it says on my time. Would Fisher please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Roll call. Next order of business. Ms. Fauta, we going to do staff roll call?
Okay. Commissioner Ashendorf?
Present.
Commissioner Derderian?
Present.
Commissioner Lucia?
Present.
Commissioner Mann?
Present.
Commissioner Ochoa?
Present.
Vice Chair Zuckerman? Absent. Chair Wondercheck? Absent. We have quorum.
Great. Okay, do we go into public comment first? Presentations first. Okay. Presentations, the Arts Spread, Arts Grant Update. And great.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Hello. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me. I'm Nadine Saeed from the Art Spread. Recently in September, we hosted an event in part thanks to the grant that City of Costa Mesa Arts Commission provided to us. I did want to come here and personally thank each and every one of you for the opportunity. And we did put a slideshow together so you could see the impact that you all had on the community. So thank you all very much. We did put together, we had over 150 people attend. We had a mental health therapist lead a couple of the workshops, and people stayed well over the time they were supposed to. So I'm glad to see that happening. And then we had another workshop where a lot of people could get together, tap into their creative side, and create something with a theme. And that was all posted on the wall, and it looked really, really nice. Artists were there as well, engaging with the community. And it was one of the most amazing events I think we've put on. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope next year we can work together again. Thank you.
Commissioner. I would just like to say the only image I didn't see was that of your food spread. I think it was the world's largest charcuterie that I've ever seen. But seriously, it was a great event, and we're so glad to have you at Norma Herzog Center.
Thank you so much. And we actually really wanted to support local Costa Mesa community. So Honey and Hive, I don't know if you've heard of them, but she's a local community member here in Costa Mesa. She does an excellent spread, and the food was really good. And thank you so much, Commissioner, for coming. Thank you all. Have a great night. Thank you.
And now we have public comments. Okay, next we're going to open to the public comments. Each member of the public will be given a total of 3 minutes to speak. First, we will take comments from those in the council chambers, then those on Zoom. We will only have one time period for each group. There will be no going back and forth. So members of the public in the chambers, now is the time to speak, so please line up on either side of the aisle.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ronald Chi. I'm an indigenous artist living in Costa Mesa. I would like to invite you to an art show I'm participating in. The exhibit is called 8 Directions and features 8 different artists. The artist reception is tomorrow night, November 8th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the beautiful Coastline Gallery. The event is free, and beverages and appetizers will be served. If you haven't been to the Coastline Gallery, the address is 1515 Monrovia Avenue in Newport Beach on the Costa Mesa border. Wow. The gallery offers a beautiful space to appreciate art and stunning views of the surrounding bluffs and the coast. Sunsets are often spectacular. I didn't write this, but I'm reading it. The good news is that 30% of all the fine art purchases benefit the gallery, so please join us tomorrow night. Bring family and friends. If you are unable to attend November 8th, the exhibit runs through November 21st. Thank you very much. Just a little, I don't know where the camera is, but any questions? No? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Anybody else for public comment? Okay.
Let the record show there are currently no members on Zoom.
Okay, so no members on Zoom, and next page. All right, Arts and Culture Staff Report. Am I wrong? Sorry. Oh, Commissioner and comments and suggestions. This is so important. No, I'm saying, yes, it is important. Any Commissioner comments or suggestions today? Anyone?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the exceptional Jeff and Ron, the guys behind the scenes of CMTV, for making us shine and bringing our stories to life to the public. Their outstanding work documenting and capturing the interviews at Art Venture and all our events continue to impress and elevate our efforts, so thank you, Jeff and Ron. And as we gather for our final meeting this year, I want to take a moment to reflect on the extraordinary year we've had together on the Arts Commission. Being in community with each and every one of you and serving our city fills me with excitement and anticipation for the next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would just a couple things. I want to make sure that the community has an opportunity to look at the wonderful spotlight. And I draw your attention to page 21, where we focus on the arts. And we'll have more art grants coming next year, as well as the utility box art program is also featured there. Rumor has it Snoopy is coming to town, and so that's filled with all kind of artful activities. And also, thank you, Ronald Chi. You are one of our favorites in the city of Costa Mesa. We're proud to have you here, and your boxes represented near the post office, and all of the things that you do to support our city of the arts. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and make a little comment. I wanted to thank is it Ronald? For coming in and showing us what his new project's going to be. I'm hoping to make it. I live right near where that gallery is, so they have beautiful sunsets. The bluffs are amazing. And if you can have art there too, I mean, there's just nothing better than that. I saw, I think, Banksy World over there or something, Banksy Land, and it was around there. It was really good. So they do have really good stuff over there, and it's a very artistic area. I also wanted to thank everybody this year. It's been such a fun year. I missed last meeting, but Art Venture was so fun for me this year. I had my daughter there and her friend, and we had the best time. And she went last year too. And she's 12. You'd think I'd have to yank her, but no. She's like, let's go. And she does everything there. And all the events, I mean, we did this year. We had a lot of stuff going on, and it was so fun. And so I look forward to the coming year, and I look forward to seeing some art sculptures and all these other wonderful things we're going to have. And if anyone didn't get to go look at the butterflies yet, right off of 19th Street, they are there, and they are pretty. Yes, okay, thank you. All right. And now is this the consent calendar? Or did you want to? Go to the monthly report.
Next, we'll be
Minutes.
reviewing the October 3rd minutes.
All right. October 3rd minutes. So, approval of minutes.
May I make a note on that?
Yes.
I noticed an error on page 1. I was absent on October 3rd, but I was marked present.
Thank you.
And also, the meeting was adjourned by Vice Chair Zuckerman instead of Chair Wondercheck.
Thank you.
And
With those corrections, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
If you can please motion on your dais.
Oh, sorry.
motion on our dais. All right.
Happy to second that motion.
Is that
Would I?
You may now vote on your dais.
okay? Oh, you mean if we weren't here, do we abstain? Then I guess I abstain, sorry. Oops. I vote, I do vote. Yeah, I vote. Okay. It's only taken 2 years to figure this out. All right.
Okay, motion carries 5-0 to approve the October 3rd minutes with the adjustments.
Is that a receive and file? Not yet? Okay. I'm missing page 2, just so you know.
No
Okay.
worries. Next, we'll move over to the monthly report, which would be the art specialist report.
Oh, yes, our specialist report. Okay. And who's doing that?
I am.
Yay, Lorette. Lorette,
Thank you, Commissioner Mann. So for the art specialist report this month, we have a few items. The first being is a recap for our art crawl experience. We had 3 wonderful stops representing the functional arts here in Costa Mesa. First stop, we had Michael, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, Mantala, who's the marketing and events manager for South Coast Plaza. He gave a tour through South Coast Plaza and gave kind of a short history of the Jewel Dome, which is by Marian Sampler, an artist and graphic designer. And he also discussed economics of the property, how it all got started here in Costa Mesa. And then afterwards, participants enjoyed lunch on the premises for that first stop. The second stop, we went to visit the studio of Sean Woolsey, the owner of Sean Woolsey's Studios in Costa Mesa. He gave a history of his business and kind of discussed all the custom furniture they make here in Costa Mesa and the other artisans they work with in Costa Mesa. He also gave a tour of his space, and he answered some really really great questions. We had a lot of good questions at his stop. It was really fun. And then the last stop we had was at Art Time Borrow. So participants were able to meet Nicole, the owner, which is a woman-owned business in Costa Mesa. And it specializes in the beginnings of pottery and wellness workshops that blend creativity and mindfulness. And so participants learned how to make ceramic bowls using hand building techniques. So that was really fun too. So overall, a great event to honor the functional arts here in Costa Mesa, and had some stops maybe people hadn't been able to visit before. So the Poet Laureate program, the application just closed, and we currently have 4 applicants, so we're going to move forward with our review panel. So I'm getting the review panel together, and we're going to try to get that together before Thanksgiving, but if not, we'll bump that to December. And the hope is to have a January kind of start date, or start getting the scope of work ready for that new Poet Laureate position. And then we also have the utility box art program that's now open until December 31st. So if you know anyone who wants to participate in that, any artists, let them know. It's all online. There's a paper and an online application. When the application closes on the December 31st, we're going to do a little different this year. I think I'd like to have a subcommittee, kind of, a couple arts commissioners and a couple community members to kind of look at all the applications together and then sort through how many we can accept and then bring that information to the Arts Commission. So just wanted to let you all know. So I'll send some emails out and include all of you in that process. Because last year we got so many, and so I really wanted to have kind of a different group be able to review those first before we bring them back to the Arts Commission. So that's a little different, but you will hear from me. I'll give you some more information about that in the next couple months when it closes. And this year also, we are going to try to replace some older damaged utility boxes as we did last year. So we have about, I want to say 8 boxes that need some replacement. So we'll be doing that again this year and cleaning those boxes up. And the hope is to do another 14 for this fiscal year. And that is it for my art specialist report for November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask a question? Oh, there are 2 questions. One with the Poet Laureate program. Are these 4 new applicants and not including the ones from before?
Correct.
And are we not considering the ones from before at all?
We have kept those open and we let
Okay.
them know, so we can consider them all as a group. But we have 4 new ones that will go through the whole process like the first group did. And then
Great.
we can kind of assess and see where we're at with all, I think it's 8 applicants or 9, maybe 9, I'll have to look back, yeah.
Okay, and then my other question is there an age limit, or not a limit, but an age for the utility art box? Like, do you have to be a certain age, like
Yes.
over 12 or? Okay.
Yeah, I had actually, it's a great question. Thank you, Commissioner Mann. I think we had some questions on that. Youth can participate as long as there's an adult signing off on some of the liability insurance things.
Okay.
But we have, I put some stuff in the application kind of regarding that, because I had some schools ask.
Yes.
Yes.
I know,
So,
yeah.
I responded, I think it was Costa Mesa High School was asking about it. And so as long as there's a parent or a chaperone that can kind of walk them through the application process and be kind of that guardian for the project. Yeah.
Great. What about a teacher, like an art teacher? That would be okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, the Poet Laureate. First of all, I want to thank you, Ms. Garner, for all of your work to really push this forward out into the community. And given the time frame that you're looking to do the interviews of the potential Poet Laureate, I would just put this little note in your cap that April is National Poetry Month. So it would be really exciting if we were able to announce that the Poet Laureate in a special event of some sort in April, if that's at all possible. Thank you.
Okay. Should we receive and file that? Yes. Okay, yes. Sorry, it's my new favorite thing. All right. So that includes, let me go back to agenda. Go back. All right, now we are at, that was the art specialist report. Art mural application at 1400 Harbor Boulevard, Building A.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jeff Miller, and I work at Anduril Industries on the marketing team. Thank you all so much for your time. Arts Commissioner is very privileged to be here. We're here to share a proposed mural on the Anduril Industries campus. It's something that we're very proud of, and so we want to provide the context on this artwork as well as the details of the proposed way that it would be posted on our campus. First, the artwork you see here, it's entitled "The Grind That'll Win," is an original artwork produced by our internal design team that is an homage to a 1942 poster that is currently preserved by the National Archives. It's something that is in public domain. I have a copy of the original artwork here if you'd like to see it, that our team used as inspiration to create this version that you see. It's part of a campaign that we've entitled Rebuild the Arsenal that is focused on our efforts to help the U.S. Department of Defense and our allies to hyperscale defense production. And so the purpose of this mural is to showcase to the local community how Anduril is creatively making decisions to change and innovate the defense industry. The artists and designers that we have on our team are graphic designers, motion designers, industrial designers, and they all work together in composing this original artwork. For context on Anduril, we're based right here in Costa Mesa. We're a defense products company that's transforming U.S. and allied military capabilities with advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, sensor fusion, and autonomous defense systems. We partner directly with the U.S. Department of Defense, and we have local and national programs with each of the major service branches within the Department of Defense. So highlights include work that we're doing with US SOCOM, as well as the UK Ministry of Defense and the Royal Australian Navy. So we have major contracts that we have across not only the US, but also across all of our major allies. The site is formerly the LA Times printing and distribution facility, pretty iconic location, I'm sure you know, one that is 430,000 square feet. And we have really intended to, as we developed it, to be really intentional about the history and heritage of that location, preserving it as much as we could, and seamlessly integrating the creative campus with industrial design to honor the past, but also mark the future. So I'll pass it over now to my friend Ryan, who will speak specifically to the details of the installation.
Hi, my name is Ryan Fleming. I work with a signage company in Orange, and we do design, build, and also installation. We've been working with Anduril over the last 2 years to help create brand and bring signage, wayfinding, a lot of different elements to the campus. So we've had the pleasure to work with them. It's been a really good collaboration. So we've been working with them after getting this poster and trying to implement that and putting it on the campus. So we've helped design the frame system that we would like to implement in order to put this onto the building. So I just wanted to kind of walk through our shop drawings and show you a little more context about the building, side of the elevation that we're planning to put it on, and a little bit of those details. So this currently is the R&D building, building A on the property. This is facing harbor, and that's kind of the existing condition that you see in that photo right there. This is a proposed photo mock-up of what it would look like. This again is just a site plan here, so you can see harbor off to the left, and then that 1.0 dot is the indicated location for where the mural would be placed. So that's it's above their shipping and receiving area, and again, that elevation is facing towards harbor. That gate number 1, the driveway in off harbor, is considered their main entrance, so that's where all visitors pass through. So visitors, employees, and it's again kind of the main entryway that anyone coming onto the campus would be seeing. They have other entrances, but those are typically employee only. Here is that elevation, so the west elevation there, and so you can see it drawn on there. the building is quite large. It's 54 feet tall, and then that elevation by itself is 163 feet long. So it's a massive building, and again, just going back to the site plan, you can see how long that one specific building is, how large their campus is. So that's kind of the scale and context of where it would be placed, centered to that elevation, and then aligned closer towards the top of the building just for visibility. You can see the shipping and receiving kind of dock doors there, and then they have a security fence and some perimeter trees also that are on the street frontage there, so the visibility of putting up that higher kind of makes the most sense. Here are the dimensions. So the frame system and the mural are 36 feet wide, and it would be planned to be 32 feet tall. The thought process behind this frame system is it would have an outer aluminum extrusion border that would allow for a printed banner to be essentially stretched into that frame. So if you kind of imagine like a large picture frame. So part of that black border that's shown there is printed, but it would also be a physical aluminum channel that would be painted black that would be mounted directly to the wall. And I actually have a piece of that real quick. So this is part of the aluminum extrusion that would be mounted to the wall. And then you see there's this lip here that allows for excuse me. Gotta get it the right direction here. So this gets pressed into place. And what that does is it allows the banner to be stretched taut over that frame. And then again, it allows for that to be changed out periodically. Part of the thought process of this is the current campaign, the Grind That Will Win, and that as their company and different campaigns start to evolve, that they are able to introduce other murals going forward with the understanding of coming and presenting again for each one of that new artwork. The typical lifespan we expect for this type of material is 3 to 5 years. So it is very durable, they're UV resistant. And at towards the end of the life period, it starts to fade and become less vibrant. So that would be the opportunity to replace. And most likely the banner would be replaced earlier than that, just based on the timeline of the company. This is a section detail that we're showing here of the banner. So there's a few details here. That aluminum extrusion, and there would be essentially a flat bar aluminum piece behind them that's welded, and then there'd be concrete anchors back to the wall. This would all go through the permitting process and building department as well to get signed off on. But that part is the banner stretching down over that. And then below that is there was also a conversation with the planning department about having this illuminated, so potentially having some external uplight wash that we wanted to just present as just for consideration, if you guys had any comments or recommendations on that. We've sourced a product that we know will work well for that width and height that the light needs to be projected, and then also just exterior rated. This is just a quick example of a banner without a frame, and then the one on the right showing that tension frame. So you can just see how it pulls the banner taut and makes it look just much more presentable than a typical banner. This is that same system used at a local project. This is Park Place in Irvine. So we fabricated and installed this frame system. So all those images that you're seeing are printed on a banner, stretched around a metal frame. And that was installed in 2016 above part of their garage entryway there. And they have had good success with that, and we just replaced those banners in 2022. So it had a pretty long lifespan with that material being printed outside. And then, you know, they've had the flexibility to, as tenants moved in and out, LA Fitness, or, you know, they've transitioned from, you know, some of their other tenants moving in and out to adjusting the images to reflect that. So that's the flexibility of the system. So And that is it. So if you have any questions for myself or Jeff, let us know, and we appreciate your time and being able to present here.
It's wonderful to have you here. Costa Mesa is really fortunate to have Anduril in its backyard. You bring so much to the party, and so to see you here tonight is really exciting. The banners that you displayed for us from Irvine, was there lighting on those?
There was lighting. They're
Okay.
actually internally illuminated, so a little
Okay.
bit different than what we're proposing in
Okay,
this
because
situation.
I didn't see anything anywhere on those
Yeah.
banners. Okay. And you said that you're looking at continuing to change the banners every 3 to 5 years, depending on whatever campaign that Adderall is working on. Is that correct?
Yes, with the understanding that if we make any changes, that we'd be back in front of the Arts Commission to share.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ryan, Jeff, thank you for your presentation. Ryan, thank you for the technical details of your cleaning system, and I have utmost confidence it'll be very secure and long-lasting. Jeff, I had a question. Thank you for giving us some background information regarding the art. I understand it's a poster, so it's like a reinterpretation of that. And I'm curious, and it's a collaborative effort with artists and graphics designers. I'm curious if, when you cycle through the banners, would there be an opportunity for maybe a commission for a local artist to be able to contribute to that effort as well?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea as we think about future campaigns. That's why I love, frankly, being in front of an arts commission like that, because it's not something we had considered originally in the context of this campaign. But for us, it's really important to highlight not only local communities, but also veteran and active duty communities. It's core to our mission. So as we think through what that could look like in the future, with especially that veterans lens, that's a really great idea.
That's great to hear. I'm a military brat, so.
Oh, amazing.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen, both so much for the presentation, for bringing this in front of us. Just to reiterate what some of the other commissioners have said, we're just so lucky to have Anduril in Costa Mesa, and so pleased to see that. And all the more, and I want to commend your team and Anduril for taking the initiative to put together, I think, a very good art piece, and something that I look forward to driving by on Harbor and seeing on a regular basis. I appreciate the symbolism there, Anduril, with the sword and all these various details. I said, okay, Aaron, this is right. They've got it going on, and so I just wanted to say thank you and geek out a little over what I think is a great poster and a great addition to our cityscape.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah. Appreciate that. I'll share that sentiment with the team.
Good.
Okay. I would also like to say that when I first looked at it, it's very bold, and then the more I look at it, the more I like it. I really like that piece. I think it's going to look really good there, and I think it's very representative of what you're doing right now, and I also am very proud that you guys are in our community, and I'm looking forward to. I hope when you take this down, maybe you'll put it somewhere else, because you could have a long history of all of your different campaigns. That would be really interesting to see.
That's a great idea, too.
So,
thank you, Commissioner Mann.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I have one other comment.
Yes, comment away.
I love the color because, well, you're taking up thousands of square feet in that piece of property, and I drive by it regularly, and I wish I had access to see what you've done on the inside. Looks stellar. I mean, you've decorated the parking structure with soft colors, and there's lighting, and I know there's artwork and artistic endeavor inside. So this is just going to draw us closer into the relationship. So I just wanted to remind you how some of us peek through to see what else is going on there.
That really means a lot, because we talked a lot about, do we put this inside the campus just for employees, and we thought it was really important to have it publicly visible for the community to share a bit more of that perspective that you're sharing. So it's great to hear that.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, commissioners.
Commissioner Mann, we will now open for public comment.
Okay, we will now open for public comment. Is there public comment?
There are currently no members on Zoom.
No Zoom. Oh, Zoom. Okay. So now we're going to move to, oh, well, I guess, is that a file and receive? That is a file and receive. All right, now we're on to the sculpture garden update. I can tell that's you.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Monique, and I'm here to present the report on a potential project of a sculpture garden park. So just a little background, as presented in the staff report. In the Arts and Culture Master Plan that was approved on March 21st, 2021, it had an action plan of creating a new program of temporary installations of large-scale sculptures as 2-year loans placed at sites inclusive of the city's districts. We began to look at that internally and what that means and how we can accomplish that before we brought anything, because realistically we have to be able to know that as staff we can do these types of projects. We started looking at various parks within the city and how we can accomplish public art. Now Lorette has been very good with bringing you guys policies to initiate everything to do with public art, because that's the first step in getting any kind of public art within the city or program. So with the help of some members of our Public Works team, I don't want to call him out, but Rob Ryan, we began looking at some of the parks and just internally evaluating what would work best for some art in parks. When we began the analysis, we wanted to give you a concept. Now, nothing has been decided at this point. Nothing has been designed. What we're going to be presenting to you tonight is a concept of what could possibly be. We began internally discussing on what places would be ideal for art. We used Neth Park, which is right across the way, as an example due to it being a passive park. There's no playgrounds. It's more of a walking park, and which would be ideal. That's not to say that that's where we would potentially have an art park, but for this concept and this presentation tonight, that's what we used. So with a sculpture garden park, we would have to prep a site to place artwork, right? You cannot just place it anywhere and think it's okay. This is why Mr. Ryan from Public Works was assisting us, because you have to think about landscape and the treescape and everything that goes into it. So this is the real collaboration, between arts and parks. So without further ado, we engaged a company called Sitescapes, which is a landscape architect, to give us a concept of what a potential art park could look like. So we call it the sculpture garden, while also considering factors of stuff like butterfly parks, like we had just opened not too long ago, and I know that Commissioner Mann had mentioned it earlier. So incorporating some of those things, we are presenting to you tonight a concept. After we take your recommendations tonight, we would formally submit something in our CIP process, because to prep a site for artwork requires a CIP project. There's construction, there's, prepping the site, there's a lot that goes into it before we can get there. But while we present this concept and we get your feedback and we submit it to the council, Lorette will also be working with you on, what it looks like to engage in RFP processes for and commissioned artwork finally. So I know that now this is the stuff that we've all been waiting and anxious to get to. So, I know it's been a kind of a slow process, but this is, we have to make sure the policies and procedures are in place before we get there. So I hope that this is just one of the exciting parts in the beginning process of getting public art within the city. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump to some of the concept that was designed for us. So using Neth Park, we really wanted to stress that it be minimal impact to the park while also creating a relaxing environment and also retaining as many of the trees in our city as possible. If you don't know, we are Tree City, USA. Rob's working on our next application for the next year. But we really want to look at a potential sculpture garden park as being a serene environment where people can come walk through the trail, sit for a moment. Maybe it's a college student that sketches a piece of artwork, or, you have a little picnic right there, but we're not trying to make it, a birthday party park. We want it to be more elevated in terms of artwork. And so when you guys commission or approve artwork and for these loans that we get, that they will really stand out from some of the other art that we've seen around the city. So again, just another overview. You'll see some of the more iconic, I would say, the tree, trying to incorporate that in some of the walking trails right on your left side. So I would say the west end of the park. Again, just more visuals, 3D. And stop me at any time during this presentation if you want to take a look or you have questions about something or you want to comment about something. We really, when walking through this concept, and this is all for your review and to give feedback on what we could potentially submit as a project, but when we were looking at like seating areas, not just your regular bench seating or picnic benches, really trying to incorporate the little parts of what art is into the park in every aspect. And these all art pieces are all just fabricated, but that gives you the feel of what it could look like. Them being of all shapes, of all sizes. Here even you see like the pyramid style seating area, which would have like little artwork, and these are just details. And again, concepts, but stuff to consider where, little things make a big difference. Now, the white structures behind you, they look like buildings, but they're the houses that border the track behind Neth Park currently. We would look at potentially, if we were to utilize this park in a concept, right, making some kind of space that separates the two from the track behind it, and that's where a potential butterfly garden comes into play, perhaps, or other even other considerations for different kinds of artwork.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is in the context next to the neighborhood, would we gather public input?
Absolutely. So one of the next step would be after receiving your feedback, we would put together a formal CIP project and submit that for the next budget year. So that would go up for council consideration. And I think they do CIP reviews May. Look at Rob-ish, right? So April, May-ish for consideration where they approve the CIP for the next list. If it gets approved, right, we would move on into the formal review process where we would gather public input, and that might even include a joint study session between the Parks Commission and the Arts Commission, because it's a park, but it's the arts that we would be placing inside the park. So, I mean, there's no formal process yet, but that's something that we would consider. But we would also gather feedback from the residents that surround the park. So we would do the full project scope of what that entails of putting something new or a renovation at the park.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that we do love about this concept is having an iconic Costa Mesa sign. You see this a lot in the Latin American countries, and our city manager's office, a lot of us fell in love with that ideal of like what says when you're coming into Costa Mesa, how does it, and one of these things was having this sign. So this would also be a piece of artwork in itself where we would look at potentially commissioning something, having something designed. And so the architect who just gave us a few renderings of what potential options could look like for a sign for the park. So this is more of like an eclectic sign. If you've seen in other cities, other countries, you can fit into letters, people pose and take pictures and stuff like that. So this is kind of what the intention was behind one of these type of signs with this kind of lettering. Then you have different variations of Costa Mesa, big, small. Again, if this were to come to fruition, we would take a lot of these components, come back to the commission for design and review and really garner feedback. This is a little bit more clever of an idea. You see the spilled permanent paint cans spilling onto the Costa Mesa sign. So with that, that's the concept. If you guys want to see any of the slides again, I can go back, but we welcome any kind of feedback or information that you would like to give regarding a project like this. And with that.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Villasenor. A couple of things. For the CIP, is what we would be looking at, is that the foundational portion that goes into the CIP, or is it to move ahead with plans? I'm not sure if I got that.
So it would be the full scope of work, and
Okay.
I don't know, Rob might have more details, but it would start with the preliminary. We would look at, prepping a site
Yes.
needs funding, and right now the arts and culture budget supports $60,000 a year for this project. Initially, that's, you would want to say that for your art, your loan, right? But it is accumulating year over year, and so we are rolling it over. So a lot of those funds could be applied towards site prep before we get into
Got it.
art, because that's the first step to getting any of this. But we would still need additional funding, and because of the large scale of the project, you're looking, somewhere maybe I would, roughly with just general estimates, 500,000 to prep a site for, art. You put less art pieces in a park, it's less costly to prep the site. You want to put more art pieces in a park, it's going to be more. So it's the give or take of what we want to do, obviously, and that's where we're welcoming your feedback.
So I would like to ensure that when we're moving forward with this, that our trees are shaded. That's really important as you're walking through a park, that the bus stops in the near area, or there are bicycle racks, whatever, that they are also artistically designed for that facility to incorporate in that, and perhaps consider a water feature, something in the future with our sculpture, if you will. And that's it for.
I too was thinking of water feature, but it might be cost prohibitive. I don't know. We can dream big. Water can be recycled. If for that idea of tranquility and just kind of transporting, visitors to a different kind of space, I think that's a nice feature. I love that we're keeping those trees. And I also really enjoy the idea of this integrated kind of artistic seatings that can function both as art and utilitarian design objects. And I love the location in proximity to City Hall. I think that says a lot.
And like I said, the location was just for a concept ideal, but we picked it because it's a passive park. There's not many other things that you have to work around at that park. It's also, we can keep a good eye on it with some decent artwork there.
I would like to say I love it. I want a sculpture garden right now. I know we can't have it right now, but can we, like, if you build it, it will come kind of a thing? Just, slowly start and, you found a spot and now, like you said, the trees are there. I think it's great. I'd love to start looking at pieces to put there. And so when do we get going? What do we do?
So it will go up for consideration for the CIP, so it will go through Public Works with all of our other CIP processes, and then it will come to a vote for council to approve it. So that would be the first step in getting the ball rolling. But in the meantime, while that's happening, we'll start trying to bring more processes regarding public art and what I think Laurette's brought quite a few processes already about selection of private art, but we'll try to nail down what those look like for you as a commission in the coming months before the CIPs are reviewed.
That sounds great.
I have one more question. When it does come up to review for City Council, will we be notified in advance so we may advocate for the garden?
Absolutely.
I have a clarification question. So for action 2.3, that's where it talked about creating the rotating exhibits, 3 in year 1 and then 3 in year 2. So would we have multiple of these sculpture gardens throughout the city, one in each district, or is it just one to incorporate art pieces for each of the districts?
Ideally, we would like to have them in all of the districts. And the action item says they're on 2-year terms, so all of the art would be on rotation. This would be just our first step, our first garden, hopefully. And you think of it as a pilot program and really nail down, and that's why that's why we used NEF as a concept, because it's easier to plan around something that's more passive and walking, and then say that was successful and you have a call for more in the other districts, then we would move forward with that. But this is just the first step.
Okay. And then how much additional funding do you think will need to be allocated in addition to the 60,000 year over year that we're trying to accumulate to get it across the finish line for completion?
So the good thing with this contractor that we utilized, they'll be able to give some rough good cost estimates of what it would take to prep some sites. So once we have those numbers, we'll be able to submit those in the CIP and then really see where we land. And if when we build one, then we'll get a more rough idea of what it would take to build a few more in the future.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
I just have one more idea. I was thinking, okay, I know the sculptures are on rotation and those are temporary, but I'm wondering if there are little pockets where there could be more permanent things that the community can contribute to, like let's say a mosaic or a mural or something like that.
I would say Laurette, or that's more along the lines of permanent public art.
Yes, so Commissioner Cho, that would be something that if we were to get a public art fund in the future, then that would be something that we could pull from if we would work towards like an in lieu fee for public art fund, or we find funds from sponsors, or there's a bunch of different routes you could go, but that would be, we need to build like a public art fund. So because right now we don't currently have any budget line item for that, for projects like that, yeah.
Oh, I also just wanted to add, I loved the Costa Mesa big sign, larger than life. I think that's really great, and you'll get a lot of amazing attention. If somewhere in the park it can be incorporated, the tagline, City of the Arts, I think that would be really great. I think a lot of people don't even know that Costa Mesa is the City of the Arts, and it's different when you can see that tagline incorporated.
Thank you.
Can I make some comments? So I think it's great. I love the layout and the idea, obviously, of the sculpture garden, which is fantastic. I mean, talk about dream big. One idea that struck me looking at that is, I think the question of the bus stop. Like, is there a possibility in which we could look at doing something there rather than just leaving it a plain, pole that says, okay, whatever, city bus. If we're going to be building a beautiful space, we should try and improve that as well, and maybe again, looking big picture to the future, create some sort of design that would work across Costa Mesa, or at least just have a beautiful bus stop next to City Hall, of course, too, which is all the better. That's just one thing that comes to mind. And perhaps as we talk about the poet laureate, there could be a space in which poetry would be, involved in there. You could have some sort of sign there that could have rotating poems. New York always does that with the subway. They have their, is it art in motion or poetry in motion, something like this? Yeah, poetry in motion. They always have kind of rotating poems that you see on the subway and the little ad spaces and whatnot. So that was an idea that immediately struck me. I don't know if we can do anything like that or. what that would look like.
Absolutely, we can
Yeah.
try to incorporate that into the designs. I know on a much larger scale, bus stops throughout the city are being looked at and how we can incorporate more art. And Laurette's been involved in a few of those conversations already about bus stops. So those preliminary conversations are just starting to happen.
Awesome.
But I know that bus stops have been a topic of conversation even at the council level. So, and about how the art is going to be incorporated. So.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Well, that's very good. And then the other question I have regarding this is with the seating. How would that work? The various benches. I know there's some that look like more like art pieces. Would we try and do some sort of RFP for that? Would we just kind of decide we're going to do this or that? Like, what is the thinking behind that?
So a formal final design would look to incorporate all the suggestions that somebody, we would put out to bid, maybe a formal design for this park. Like I said, this is a concept and this is something that somebody can work off of and improve or change things. So it would be all during the public outreach process, whether that's through the public workshops or from commission meetings that people could come and attend. That's when we would get into and delve into like specific designs like that.
Great, okay. Those are my questions.
And Monique, how do you envision incorporating signage or recognition of the artists and the name of the piece with each of these?
So we would look at some signage, obviously where you honor artwork. We would, we're also starting, on a much larger note, we're starting to look at donors and sponsors to get projects like these started. It's a very common strategy, especially in the arts world. So we're just in the beginning phases of what that looks like. And recognition of the artists and frames and plaques would all be part of final design.
Or else one of us has to die and leave all of our money to this sculpture garden. Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you for
Thank
a
you.
wonderful presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we will open up to public comment. If any members of the public wish to speak, they can come up to the podium. Each member of the public will be given a total of 3 minutes to speak. There will be no going back and forth. And we do have a hand raised on Zoom by Cynthia McDonald. You can press *6 to unmute.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Cynthia McDonald, I'm a Costa Mesa resident. I am also an artist. And one of the things that concerned me when I was looking at the design was I didn't see restrooms. And restrooms are important. You want to spend a long time in the park, but you also want a place to wash your hands and obviously a drinking fountain or a water source would be great. Another thing is I would hope that you would allocate some space for performance art. During COVID, when museums were shut down, galleries were shut down, I went to a lot of performances in parks because it was the one place we could go and be out in the open and be safe and see art being performed. So I would ask that you do that. And this park can be not only for sculpture, but it can also be for events. You could have art fairs there. You could have plein air gatherings and have people performing, their art right there for people to watch. So I would encourage you to kind of broaden the scope of this and kind of think in those terms. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no other hands raised.
Okay. So we'll close public comment. And do I need to have a motion, or is that, nope, no motion, okay.
It will be a receive and file and moving on to final commissioner and staff comments.
That's right, it will be a receive and file, and then we will now move on to staff and comments. Yep, let's hear it. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say a few words. As we're wrapping up the year, I just want to compliment staff. I think they did a great job throughout the year with the various different events, the art venture, the art crawl, just some of the few components I've been a part of and just learning more about. I've been very, very impressed, and also obviously working with the commissioners. So I'm really looking forward to next year. I'm excited for it. I think we're going to have some great opportunities to really move some of these programs and initiatives forward. And so I'm just really excited for that, and certainly want to thank you for your support in moving these items forward. And hopefully you guys have a wonderful holiday, and we look forward to next year, and appreciate all your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, right there.
Yes, just as the possibility, I think, or the reality, I guess, depending on what happens with our next meeting, that this is potentially my final meeting as an art commissioner. I just want to thank all my fellow commissioners. It's been an honor to serve with you. Thank you. My sincere thanks to the staff, to Ms. Gardner, and to Brian for all the hard work that you've done in making the Art Commission possible, and of course, help beautifying our city, our wonderful, lovely city of Costa Mesa. It's been a real honor to be a part of this body, and I hope to be returning in the new year, but who knows what life will bring. And with that, I just want to say thank you guys all so much.
I feel the same way. And is that it for everyone? Okay, so I guess comments are closed. We're going to adjourn. Merry Christmas. I do. I like doing that. 7:03. You survived. I survived.